Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar, Dexcom's Journey from Agile PLM to Oracle Cloud PLM. Before we begin, I wanted to cover a few housekeeping items. If you're having any technical or content-related questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A window and we'll address your questions. You can expand, minimize, and move each one of the window panes displayed on your screen. Today's presentation is being recorded, and all registrants will receive a link to the post-recorded webinar. And also, don't forget to visit our additional resources available in the resource list. We encourage you to download any resources or links that you may find useful. So a little bit about today's webinar. In the rapidly changing and highly regulated medical device industry, agility and compliance are essential. Today, we'll explore how Dexcom, a global leader in continuous glucose monitoring, transformed its PLM by replacing its legacy Agile PLM system with Oracle Cloud PLM. This strategic shift streamlined their product development, improved regulatory compliance, and accelerated innovation. We'll also discuss key challenges in the life sciences sector, steps taken to implement Oracle Cloud PLM, and how Dexcom has enhanced its ability to manage its product introductions, compliance, and scalability. So just again, here's some more information about the webinar. If you're having issues, please let us know. We know we had some folks that had some connectivity issues. You can also expand. This is being recorded, and then you'll get a copy of the registration when we're done. So a little bit about our speakers. I'm Jennifer Stango. I am the Vice President of Strategic Growth for Argano. I've been in the healthcare and life sciences industry for a little bit over 15 years, done everything from FDA validations to large-scale ERP implementations. Love the industry, and I'm super excited to introduce the group that we're going to have presenting today and moderating the conversation. So Mark is the Senior Director of Client Engagement at Argano. He has over 30 years of experience in PLM and supply chain consulting. He's held leadership roles at Oracle Agile Software and founded Masimo Corporation. Mark has vast experience helping organizations optimize their product lifecycle management strategies and driving business success. Riddell is the Director of IT at Dexcom. He leads IT initiatives across multiple business functions with more than 20 years of experience. He has played a key role in implementing enterprise-wide solutions, including Oracle PLM. He supports Dexcom's growth and operational efficiency. John is the Vice President of PLM Product Strategy at Oracle. He's led the development of cutting-edge PLM systems for over 17 years. He has over decades of experience in product management and marketing across leading tech companies. His expertise in PLM has helped Oracle customers enhance collaboration, streamline processes, and innovate more effectively. As a reminder, you can ask questions to any of our presenters by submitting them in the Q&A engagement tool located at the bottom of your screen. We'll be addressing those questions at the tail end of the webinar. So I've already introduced myself. I'm going to introduce a little bit about Argano. Argano is a purpose-built company that was designed to help clients optimize their digital foundations and drive high-performance operations. We specialize in implementing and integrating ERP, CRM, cloud solutions, PLM, with modern tools like AI and data analytics. This empowers clients to adapt to change, streamline operations, and achieve sustainable growth. With deep expertise across multiple industries and strong partnerships with leading technology providers like Oracle, Argano delivers tailored solutions that align strategy, technology, and operations to create exceptional value for all of our clients. Our Oracle business unit within Argano is your single source partner for Oracle Cloud applications, including, of course, Oracle PLM, which is what we're going to cover today during this webinar. We also do infrastructure, and we migrate legacy on products to the cloud. We're really excited to have our team come in and do a presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to John, but one of the things that you'll see in the download are some recent articles that we've been publishing about the sector. If you go out and you look at the resources or you go out to the page, you'll find additional content that we've put out, including things that are happening with the new FDA rules. So with that, I'm really excited to turn it over to John. John?
Great, thank you very much. So I'm going to dive right in and really talk a lot about what we're doing in the next generation PLM here at Oracle. It's a great solution you're going to like. We're going to talk a little bit about some forward-looking features, so safe harbor. So to start it off, the real message here is now's the time to go to PLM Cloud, especially for Agile customers. It's faster, it's more modern, it's better. So 3 major things I want you to remember as we go through this. One is the Redwood UI is the next gen UI that we're rolling out. It's a consumer grade UI. We're actually winning design awards, which is crazy for an Oracle UI. Agile was a great UI, it still is, but Redwood's better. So we're gonna try to show you that today. Second is, instead of writing a bunch of code for your extensions, you can do that with business rules. So business rules, not code. So what we're seeing is a lot of customers are taking their PXs, they're cutting those PXs down 50, 60, 70, 80%. Again, your mileage may vary, but they're replacing those PXs with low code, no code business rules. So it's a lot easier to configure the system. You don't need a bunch of Java or Groovy scripting. You just set some rules up and really move forward. Third thing I want you to remember is innovation that matters. So when you really look at this, we release 4 times a year, and we're going to talk a lot about this and how you manage that. But there's some really powerful things. A lot of Gen AI, RAG is a use case that's really powerful, and I'm going to talk about that in here, and even AI agents. And the last point here is we're the product digital thread. We are the item master for all of the ERP and supply chain at Oracle. You know, PLM has talked about being the enterprise product record for decades. And really what PLM was in the past was it was the development product record, not the enterprise. This is now the true enterprise product record. So these are the 3 key things that I want to bring up and point out. And we're gonna move through sort of the rest of the presentation pretty quickly. And I'm going to talk a lot about Redwood. Here's some comments from people that have seen it so far. I'll just point out it's fast. The navigator's back, and the bomb grid's really cool. So I'll talk a lot about the bomb grid. It's better than the Agile bomb tool. So this is Redwood. It's the next generation of UI. It's really powerful. It's consumer grade. Redwood is rolling out across the entire Oracle Fusion Cloud platform. We're not going to show all of this in detail today. What I will ask you to do, though, is call your sales rep, call Mark Morgan, call Kerry, whatever, and actually, you know, ask for a demo, ask for a deep dive on this, and I'll be glad to come in and show you guys end to end what's going on in Redwood. But, you know, it's the type of things you'd expect. Great search engine. So in fact, this case, we're looking at the workflow search engine. So how can you look at workflow approvals? And this can do things that, you know, you used to need analytics for. So with 4 or 5 clicks, I can tell you, you know, what needs to be approved, who hasn't approved, what things have been in approval for more than X number of days, all with a simple search engine. So we're going to go through each of this fairly quickly. And again, call somebody and we'll do a deep dive. So here's search. Search is really powerful. It's very, very fast. I have keyword search up in this panel, so I can type in a set of keywords and get great results. It's AI enabled as well. Over here, I can click this button over here and it'll pop out a panel on the right side. And this gives me sort of the traditional parametric search engine where I can see what all my parameters are, and I can enter 4 or 5 and hit search. That's sort of the old way of doing search. We now have a more faceted search engine. We call these filter chips. And I can just click on these and enter these and get the same kind of parametric capability, but in a more modern, current sort of user interface. And it's very, very fast. Second, you know, sub-second, millisecond response time across millions of parts. And again, very, very powerful. The navigator is back. This is something we didn't have in the older Redwood UI. This is back now. So saved searches, including personal saved searches. I can even share saved searches with other people. The clipboard is where your scratch pad is. Your favorites are there. And we also have something called the spotlight, which would allow me to take an item, put it in the spotlight so I can see its bill of material over here in the left panel, or if I'm on a change order, see the affected items. It's very, very similar to the Agile Navigator tab. So this is, again, a great, great feature that you can take advantage of to really drive things. This is an example of the item UI, very powerful item UI that brings together not just the technical information, but the operational information as well. So I can see all my form, fit, function attributes here, as well as all my supply chain attributes. Now, you can also set up a set of business rules here. So if you really don't want your design engineers to see the purchasing information or see the order management information, you can certainly set up a very simple business rule, low code, no code, and hide that information from, say, your design engineers. Okay, so very easy to do. Down here at the bottom, very bottom, you see these tabs. These are called dismissible tabs. I'm allowed to have up to 25 of these open at a time. So for example, I could have a couple items open, a couple change orders open, a couple MPNs open, and it really gives me a great way to multitask. I mean, think of your browser. Imagine if your browser only had one tab. This is a similar situation. Now, you're now allowed to have up to 25 objects open at the same time so you can manage information. Great capability. Again, very fast UI, fully configurable, and very easy to navigate through these quick links to different parts of the item. This is the BOM tool. This is a tool I think is going to be really the highlight of Redwood. So think of a grid like Excel. It's incredibly powerful. I'm able to sort and filter columns. I'm able to do roll-ups, et cetera. And again, we'll be rolling out more and more capabilities around this, but it's really powerful. The other thing I want to point out is context. So we have the dots, we call them data presence indicators in the cloud. And these things, instead of jumping to a new page and overwriting the bill of material, it'll pop out a side panel on the right side with that information. So if I want to see the attachments, I can click on that and the attachments will come out. If I want to see the pending changes, I could see those. If I wanted to see quality, if I wanted to see AML, all this stuff is available. You can see we've got reference designators, substitute parts, very robust, great looking bill of material, supports both single level and multi-level BOM. Again, very, very powerful. Change management, exactly what you'd expect it to be. I think as you look through this, it should be familiar, right? So I've got, my headers, my affected objects. It's all the things you'd expect to see in a PLM application, just with a more modern approach. But again, very familiar kind of user interface. AI agents. So this is, again, a major thing that's pretty interesting. A lot of people ask about full text search. This is called RAG, which is a form of Gen AI. And what it allows you to do is take your documents, bring them into what we call a small language model, not a large language model, because the large language models are public. And you certainly don't want your public information out in the wild. So this is a small language model, which allows you to ingest your documents and then ask questions. In this case, this is a Reacher Rojas example. And I asked a simple question about, how much am I allowed to have? And it will look through your documents and give you answers. So this is a great capability. It's all private. None of your data ends up out in the wild or into the public LLM. So great capability. And again, just to sort of wrap up, great UI, modern search engine, familiar but modern UI, Excel-like BOM grid, a lot of great capabilities, rule-based configuration, not code. And again, innovation that matters. We give you updates every quarter. We have constant innovation, things like Gen AI. You can create new business objects with low code, no code. And again, it is the product digital thread for all of supply chain. So there's way less connectors and integration needed. So that's sort of the summary. Great UI, great configuration, less customization, and great innovation. With that, I'll hand it off to Mark.
Mark, we're having difficulty hearing you. Can you just make sure that you're unmuted, please?
There we go. Thank you, John. A lot of great capabilities there. So what I'd like to talk to you today about is why PLM matters. And obviously, in the life science and med device area, you guys are under stringent regulatory requirements and a very high need for high quality, safe products because your products really matter in the lives of your customers. So what I did is I put together the top 10 reasons why you need Cloud PLM. And so let me just start with reason number 1. So that's around improved collaboration. So it's very common for us to see that with very immature PLM processes and applications, you'll have siloed departments, you'll have poor communication, especially when you have very large product development processes. So example of this, you have got a R&D group and the regulatory teams working on a project, but in isolation. And that can lead to misaligned products, specifications, and compliance issues. So how does PLM address that? So PLM integrates all departments, including R&D, quality assurance, and regulatory, provides a single source of truth, so you're all working off the same sheet of music, and facilitates real-time collaboration. Everybody's looking at the same product record, that same digital thread that John mentioned, and you're working off the same information, which really facilitates that collaboration. So what's the benefit of doing that? So this enhances teamwork across engineering, regulatory teams, making faster decision-making, reduced errors in your product development, leading to more efficient product cycles. So this can lead, in average, up to 15% faster development cycle time and 20% fewer compliance issues. Okay, let's talk about reason number 2, enhanced data management. So again, we talked about the teams being able to collaborate, but now we're all working off that single source of truth, right? So typically what we see is inconsistent scattered product data in multiple systems spread around, and I've got to jump from one application to another to find all the information I need around my product record. PLM will bring all that information into a single source of truth, accessible to all the consumers of that product data. And what this does is it improves the data quality, the data integrity, makes it easier to get access to that information, faster access to the information, and allows you to have better compliance to your industry standards. Reason number 3, accelerated time to market. So how do I bring my products to market faster? So a common issue that we see is there's delays in product development and market launch due to lengthy design and regulatory approval processes, right? Those really slow down the process and delay things. PLM will help you optimize those workflows. They're going to automate the processes, reducing the time for administrative tasks and enabling faster design iterations. And through this, you're going to see faster product launches, increased market competitiveness, and higher revenue potential, which are critical for your industry where time to market can determine market share. So through these benefits, what we've seen typically is your product development cycle time comes down from many months, improvement on there, capturing better market share and increasing revenue as a result of having your products to market faster. Okay, let's move on to reason number 4. So better compliance and risk management. So a common issue we see is that there's difficulty in adhering to stringent industry regulations, managing risks, particularly for life science and med device customers. A common issue we see is that companies are struggling to meet FDA compliance due to the lack of proper documentation and tracking. So how does PLM address this? So PLM provides the tools for compliance tracking and risk assessment throughout the product lifecycle, ensuring all regulatory requirements are met. The benefit of this is you've got reduced legal risk, improved product quality, and enhanced brand reputation, ensuring that products meet safety and regulatory standards. Moving on to reason 5, cost reduction. So a common issue we see here is we've got high costs due to inefficiencies and waste in production and supply chain processes. So typically we would see a company facing high costs due to excessive scrap and rework by manufacturing from an outdated version of the product documentation, right? If I'm not building off the latest product documentation, that potentially would have to be reworked or scrapped and have to be rebuilt. PLM addresses this issue by streamlining the product release process and update process, ensuring manufacturing is working off the most current version of that product design information. This leads to lower production cost, increased profit margins, and better resource allocation, allowing companies to invest more in innovation and product quality improvement. Reason number 6, improved quality around your product. So a common issue we see here is that we've got inconsistent product quality, high defect rates, especially in the complex manufacturing process. How does PLM address this? So PLM ensures that we standardize processes and have thorough quality checks at every stage of the manufacturing, from early design all the way through final production. This leads to higher customer satisfaction, reduced returns, strengthened brand loyalty, as well as customers receiving high quality, reliable products. Let's move on to reason 7, enhance innovation. So a common issue we see here is stagnation and lack of innovation ideas in competitive markets. So a common example here is companies are struggling to come up with new ideas and really focus and put those new ideas into their next product generation. So how does PLM address this? So PLM fosters a collaborative environment that encourages idea sharing and innovation, integrating feedback from various departments and stakeholders, and allowing that to go into the next generation of your product. The benefits here are more innovative products, a competitive edge, and increased market share, which is crucial for staying ahead in your industry. Reason number 8, streamline supply chain management. So a common issue we see here is supply chain disruptions and inefficiencies, which can impact medical device manufacturing operations. So an example of this is the manufacturers experiencing delays due to poor supplier collaboration and access to the latest product data. Again, we want to make sure the latest version of your product information is in the hand of those stakeholders that are building your product. How does PLM address this? So the PLM system provides visibility, control over the entire supply chain, ensuring timely and efficient coordination of your product data between suppliers and manufacturers. Your benefits you're going to see from this are a smoother supply chain operations, reduced delays, and lower cost, which will enhance your overall efficiency and reliability in your product delivery. Reason number 9, better resource management. So a common issue here is we've got poor utilization of resources and talent, often leading to project delays and cost overruns. So as we're going through our product development process, we want to ensure that all of the resources are working on exactly what we need to meet our NPI deadlines. PLM can help address this by optimizing our resource allocation and tracking, ensuring that the resources are used efficiently and effectively. The major benefits here are we've got maximized productivity, we've got better talent utilization, improved project outcomes, ensuring that projects are completed on time and on budget. And reason number 10 for why we need Cloud PLM is strategic decision making. So a common issue we see here is a lack of comprehensive data for making key strategic decisions, hindering our long-term planning and innovation. So how does PLM address that? PLM provides a robust analytics and reporting tools, offering insights into every aspect of the product lifecycle. The major benefits here are data-driven decisions, better strategic planning, improved business outcomes, positioning your company for long-term success in competitive markets. So that's the top 10 reasons why you need Cloud PLM. And I'd like to now turn it over to Rodell and have him talk about their journey through their implementation of Cloud PLM. Rodell?
Thanks, Mark. Hi again. Just to reintroduce myself, I'm Rodell Sampaku. I'm a director of our IT enterprise application team, and I've been with Dexcom for almost 9 years now. And throughout my tenure, I've had the opportunity to spearhead the enablement of a number of enterprise platforms, and of course, the topic we are speaking about today with our transition from Oracle Agile to Cloud PLM. So it's a pleasure to be here with Argano and Oracle to share some insights into our Agile PLM journey with you. So hopefully it gives you some tips if you're going to embark on that type of journey. A little bit about Dexcom. We're and I know we have a revenue graphic there, but I'll focus more on our background and product timeline. We began our journey in 1999 with a mission to empower people to take control of their diabetes. And our vision was to become a leading consumer health technology company to deliver a best-in-class solution to empower people with diabetes to take control of their health and focus on better outcomes for patients and the caregivers who care for them and the clinicians who support them. So, with our first, in our product journey in 2005, we had a breakthrough with a first commercial product with a short-term sensor that, initially lasted 3 days. And it was an incredible milestone to prove that there was a safe and effective alternative way rather than just finger sticks to capture your blood glucose levels. And G4 was a game changer for us, where it was the first sensor approved for pediatric use. So giving parents of type 1 diabetes patients the peace of mind to allow their children to understand and better manage their diabetes and also remotely monitor their kids, if they were at school, playing soccer and watching them from afar or Little League. It was truly a game changer for them. So, and then over the years, we iterated from G6 to our current product to G7. And over this past summer, we launched Stelo, which is the first over-the-counter CGM for people living with type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes. So it's been an amazing journey. And just most recently last week, with that product, we were put in Time Magazine's Best Inventions of 2024. So our journey to Agile, Dexcom started using Agile in 2008. And as a young company that was really figuring out how to do many things as a business, how to operate, define our own business best practices, we leaned heavily on Agile PLM for our product lifecycle management. Mark and his team joined us in 2015 to help resolve some critical Agile issues that we were encountering. And really, they provided that architectural and technical knowledge and guidance for us. And it was at a critical point in our product journey as Dexcom's name in the industry and the diabetes community was really taking off. Our product was transforming, market opportunities were opening up, and our product teams were needing to really move fast. And at the same time, our IT organization leadership continued to grow and mature, and we recognized an opportunity to move to Cloud PLM. And so, recognizing the need for cost management, the reliability, moving from an on-prem environment to a cloud SaaS-based solution. So we started working on a POC to prove and justify a move to Cloud PLM. And so this proof of concept was our opportunity in our evaluation process to assess essentially a new platform for our business community. We needed to understand the practical benefits, feasibility, limitations of the move before committing to a full-scale migration. So over the course of 4 weeks, the team stood up an environment for us with our core PLM business processes. We loaded some data from our Agile system to kick the tires and test drive the system with key stakeholders in the business. And in the end, we were able to check mark a few things. Of course, core functionality and compatibility with our existing business processes, check. Giving us the opportunity to evaluate the user experience and what potential adoption. We knew that was something we had to manage, and I'll talk about that a little bit in our lessons learned. being able to benchmark performance, our data processing, gauge the reliability and overall efficiency that we would gain. And so that allowed us to assess, and again, I guess, being able to assess the scalability and future needs. We knew this was a product that Oracle was going to invest in. And so, for us, and again, going back to on-prem versus cloud SaaS, that was an important consideration for us. So, and as we went through that POC, we started to understand risks and the mitigation that we would need to have to do moving forward. And at the end of the day, that POC demonstrated the key Cloud PLM capabilities, which led to proving that this was the right tool for Dexcom. So ultimately, it now allowed us to gain budget investment, project approval to proceed with that migration from Agile to Cloud PLM. So the scope of the project, I'll try to embellish here. At a high level, you may think, we enabled modules for product development, product data hub, the supplier portal for contract manufacturers, and UOTBI dashboard and reporting. But to the right, you'll get a little sense into the complexity that we were going to get into with migrating 14 years of data. So I want to highlight that. We really tried to focus on, we knew we needed to socialize that transition and gaining early involvement and engagement from our user community to start to understand and define what organizational change management was going to look like. We need to make sure we get them engaged before our go live date, because when you see the scope of things that we migrated, and I'll go over to the next slide, we really needed to get a lot of different people who were involved at different stages of our PLM lifecycle engaged. So this was really our biggest challenge. We had over 14 years of data in Agile that we needed to bring it all over. Not just latest revisions of stuff. We wanted to move the whole history of data. So, again, that was our biggest challenge, and really trying to squeeze migrating that amount of data in as short a window as possible to minimize operational downtime. And we went live at the end of the year. So throughout the project, we iterated through and did multiple passes of what that migration would look like. So, through that iterative process, we were able to fine tune and understand the timing of things. And we zeroed in on, exactly how much time things were going to take when we did that migration cutover. So, and that cutover for, the data and a few key, files, took 13 hours. File attachments, you can see the different types of file attachments we had. There was over 1.8 terabytes of file attachments that came over. And so, again, during that iterative process, when we learned how that migration was going to look like, we were able to define and sequence the way we loaded files from Agile to Cloud PLM. We ultimately started with just current versions to get us there and enable us to go live with the system. And when we were operational with the new system, we, in the background, continued to load all the previous file revisions in there. And that strategy worked very well for us to minimize that cutover window versus having an extended downtime window. And ultimately, it was a pretty smooth transition over. Benefits. There's many benefits, of course. Having a new system and having that core functionality and compatibility with our existing business processes. But there's a nice graphic where you can see how over the course since our go live, our go live journey, as we continue to grow and mature and get comfortable with Cloud PLM, our average change order cycle time went from 1 month to less than 10 calendar days. And then with our user community, there are a number of real big benefits for them. Real-time reporting was huge for us. While we were still in Agile, we were going through a number of options, from evaluating an on-prem BI solution and we were spinning up a BI practice and trying to determine our technology solution. So we were considering moving our Agile data into a data lake to do reporting, but having the real-time analytics and reporting capabilities through OTBI has really enabled us to gain efficiencies in search dashboards and reporting and KPIs. Other big wins for our user community were around item rules and a simplified PLM process. We really improved, streamlined the process. We went from going from 60 item classes in Agile to reducing it to 4 item classes, I believe, and over a dozen or so change workflow processes in Agile to 6 change workflow processes. In streamlining our BOMs, one of the things that we found in our Agile environment was that our BOMs were there was a lot of information in there. They were bloated. There were a lot of things that didn't need to be in the BOM that was in there. And it gave us an opportunity to sit down with our business teams and ask the question, what really needed to be there versus what should be in relationships. We ended up moving almost 90% of our items in the BOM from Agile to the relationship tab in Cloud PLM. And that enabled us to streamline the bill of material, which made our change order processes much more faster. And then I think, Mark, you recently pointed out statistics. We were doing a recent audit lately, and we were looking at changes of our G6 and G7 products when we went live, and I think we were averaging 800 change orders a month to now about 2,000 change orders a month. So yeah, this platform really enabled us to scale. The item rules, the new capability there allowed us to do things in cloud that normally would be a customization in Agile. And then finally with quarterly updates, being able to have new features come in more often versus for us at the time when, we had one big giant upgrade process that we had to go through. And it could be, every year or two. And, but being able to get those smaller, more incremental updates, and actually even being able to work with Oracle on, sharing them some of our challenges and asking for, features and enhancements to help streamline some of our process has been real beneficial for us. So some lessons learned. We did this during the pandemic. We did this during COVID. So I strongly suggest you don't run a large-scale project like this during the pandemic. But, really data migration and that full revision history was so complex. I remember going through and hearing some of the results where during our full data migration passes, I think we did about 10 or so or more of them, we did full simulated data migration passes just to get that timing, that reliability, and just making sure that all the data was getting in, the files were getting in. So that really helped us to formulate a game plan and playbook to when we did our cutover. So again, going back, we focused on loading. We knew we can load the current revisions first, and when we went live, we can focus on getting the older routes in post go live. The roles out of the box roles were very open. So working with Mark and his team, we had to do custom roles to meet our requirements. And then, we had to manage our Agile users. So, brand new system, our users were so used to and expecting things that they were used to in Agile. They came back and said, where is this feature? I used to have it in Agile. So, we had to manage that. And we learned, there were some lessons that we learned where, in findings where there were some practices that were happening in Agile that were not necessarily good PLM practices, and Cloud PLM would not allow them to do it. So it kind of forced our user community to move more into a best practice process, which was actually good. And then I want to focus on the last two, both with our governance and partnership with our consultancy. So like many of us, when we work on projects, we have some sort of methodology. We really needed to lean into that in our project engagement, our governance process, and our stakeholders. in order for us to coordinate and execute on a large-scale transition like this. So when you think about what drives successful projects, it's really the people, but you need to give the people on that team a framework for them to run through and iterate through challenges that may come up. The key people who are part of the decision to that transition, the key people who are part of the POC to prove and justify that move from Agile to Cloud PLM, all of it. We were all critical pieces and who needed to be involved from a governance perspective to continue to champion and get us through some of the challenges that happened along the way. And again, we had that strong partnership with Mark and our consulting team who brought in that strong industry experience and that PLM solution expertise. So really all of that together, there are many challenges along the way, but again, when I reflect back on that transition, it was actually, there was a lot of heavy lifting and work done up front, but when it came down to that cutover, that process and that governance really helped us through in delivering a seamless transition. So, and I think that's all I had.
Thanks, Riddell. That was really informative, and it was great hearing about not only your journey through PLM, but the journey of Dexcom. And congratulations on your acknowledgement from Time Magazine. So we're going to open it up for Q&A. I see we have a lot of questions already coming into the chat, but as a reminder, if you haven't submitted your question yet, you can submit those in the Q&A engagement tool in the bottom of your screen. So I'm going to take them based off the way that they came in. So the first question we got is, can someone please describe some KPIs or metrics companies should track to evaluate the effectiveness of the PLM data on ERP outcomes?
Yeah,
Mark,
I'll take that one. Yeah, I'll take that one. So one that actually Dexcom tracks, as well as other companies that we worked with, is your ECO cycle time, right? And I think that's the chart that Riddell had shared with you. That really shows your efficiency, because obviously in your industry, there are some critical regulatory requirements that are required in order for you to review and approve a new document part, a revision of that document or part, to ensure it meets your regulatory requirements. But obviously you don't want it to be stuck in there for days and days and days. So ECO cycle time is one of the key metrics that are tracked and can give you a real insight to see if that's a bottleneck and how you can make improvements to streamline that process.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. We have another question. Can you please say some common mistakes companies have made with their PLM data strategy, particularly in relationship to ERP integration?
Yeah, I'll take that one as well. So one of the key things you need to think about, and this is one of the first pieces you'll really think about for your implementation, is your data model design and then your workflows. And so your data model design really has to support all the downstream processes that will feed that product information. So John, again, alluded to the digital thread during his part of the presentation. PLM is where that digital thread starts. So you're building that product record. You're going to continue to enhance that product record as it travels down through the other supply chain applications. So when you talk about inventory management, procurement, planning, order management, you're going to take that core product record and continue to build on that as you go. So obviously, when you're designing that data model from a PLM perspective, you need to also consider the requirements downstream so that that data record or that digital thread can be seamless and doesn't have to be reworked as it moves downstream.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. I think, John, this one's for you. How do you see AI and machine learning impacting data management insights within the new PLM system?
Yeah, great. So I talked about RAG earlier. I think being able to get intelligence out of your documents is a great capability. I also think we're looking at AI in a bunch of places. Description generation. We're looking at it in approval matrix kind of use cases. How can I use machine learning so I can start figuring out who the right approvers are, or just set up a document that says what my rules are and use RAG to generate that list. So there's a lot of capabilities. I think bomb grading is another good one that we're looking at, and we're looking at capabilities there. So AI is going to be everywhere. I mean, it's an assistant. So think of a lot of the things that are manual that aren't necessary that we could automate, and that's what AI is going to do. It's going to be, you know, your assistant to help you get things done.
Great, thanks, John. So the next question we have, and I think this is for John and Mark, what emerging trends do you see in data strategies for PLM integrations, and anything that the team or the people on this call should be aware of for the future?
Why don't I take it first, Mark, and you can jump in. So the biggest strategy is there's less integration. You're on a single platform. The PLM item master is the item master for Fusion supply chain. It is one item master. In fact, when you think about it, traditionally in Agile, we managed the engineering product record. So it was the form, fit, function attributes. Well, in cloud, I have out of the box 200 operational attributes that, you know, talk about, you know, minimum reorder quantity by org for, you know, inventory. So all this stuff is built into the platform with a set of data rules. So, you know, your integrations go down when you're all cloud. Now, if you do have another ERP, we have a great integration framework called Oracle Integration Cloud, OIC, which is, you know, one of the leading integration frameworks on the market for integrating across platform, between platforms, to third parties, et cetera.
Yeah, and John, I'll just kind of add on to that too. A lot of the questions we get from potential customers is, do I need to make the big leap to cloud ERP? Do I need to bring everything from my on-premise applications into cloud ERP all at once? PLM actually becomes one of the first stepping stones. So that can be your first step into your cloud ERP system by starting with PLM. And so you can implement the product development module, the product data hub modules, independently of what ERP system you're using. And that can be your first step. And then as you move that product record in there and get good management around releasing new items and documents, updating those, revision control of those, then you can start to take those next steps in the supply chain management area, in the ERP area. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. PLM is a great stepping stone to start making that progress over to cloud.
That's a great point, Mark. I mean, if you're looking at a supply chain transformation initiative, the first thing you need is a solid foundation, and that is your item master. So great point.
Great. So, Riddell, we have a question for you. They want to know if Dexcom was on premise before the PLM conversion.
Yes, we were. We were
Perfect.
On Oracle. We were managing our entire on-prem solution.
And then, did you handle the integration to the on-prem solution? And if so, can you describe it a little bit? From Cloud PLM to the on-premise solution.
Not sure on.
Yeah, let me take that
mean?
question. So the integration between their Cloud PLM and they use EBS, on-premise EBS, for their ERP today. So what we set up initially was a process where we can export the PLM data and then import that into EBS. So there is some discussion on their application roadmap of automating that process, but they're also looking at the timing of when they're going to be migrating their EBS system to cloud ERP. So they're kind of looking at the pros and cons of automating the integration versus waiting until they actually migrate to cloud ERP.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
And Rodell. So the next question we got in is, how can PLM data help improve ERP functions like procurement, inventory management, or production planning?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think I talked about that a little bit previously. Yeah. Is again, your PLM is the start of that build of that digital thread, right? I'm building the core product information, right? My part number, my description, unit of measure, my bill of material, my approved manufacturer list. my change control revision history around that. That's your core product record. Now, as I start to move that core product record downstream, now I start to enhance that with my procurement data, lead times, buyer information, minimum order quantities. I enhance that with my planning information, right? Manufacturing lead times, different optimization attributes in there. So PLM becomes kind of that foundation, as John mentioned, and allows you to kind of pass that downstream. Now, the ultimate goal is once you've moved all of that over to Cloud ERP, once I create that item master in PLM, that item master is shared across all of those different functional areas. So it's not, I don't have to integrate it to other applications. I don't have to pass it back and forth, sync it somewhere. That item master is instantly available for my other functional areas, whether it's procurement, planning, inventory, order management, all of that. So that core product record is the start of your digital thread, but lives on all as it moves to the different functional areas.
Great, thanks, Mark. We have another question that came in. How does PLM data integration support decision-making across product life cycles from design to manufacturing? I don't know if you or John want to take that one.
I think Mark kind of answered that. It's because that data is available, people can make decisions earlier. The other thing that you're able to do is in the past, you had all your information in PLM. Then you ran the connector once a day or once a week or 3 times a day, and that data moved over to another application, which then needed to get enriched with the information needed to round it out. And so that every integration and every handoff involves time. When you do that all in one platform, you compress that time. So I can start early sourcing much earlier. I can do supplier risk management much earlier because everyone's working off the same enterprise item master. So it really does compress time and allows things to happen more concurrently.
Great, thank you. So we had another question that came in. What are the integration interface capabilities, possibilities, considering things like SolidWorks, PDM, and unstructured data?
Yeah, good point. So a bunch of different integration capabilities. So CAD is unique because their data structures are so complicated. So we work with partners who have developed CAD connectors, just like we did with Agile. So even though I had CAD connectors on my price list, I had partners develop them. So, and that's the same strategy in cloud. But we also have great integration frameworks in cloud. So we have, again, Oracle Integration Cloud, OIC, is a great framework for integrating both within the cloud if you need to, but typically you won't, but across cloud and third-party applications. So there's all kinds of capabilities. There's REST services, there's import frameworks, there's publication. PLM is actually built on an MDM platform. So it's got great import, export, publish capabilities to connect to other tools.
Yeah, just to add on to that, John, so with Oracle Integration Cloud, that also comes with Oracle providing some adapters for common applications. So if you've got EBS, ERP, you've got an MES system, there's, I don't remember the number, but it's more than 100 available connectors or adapters that are pre-built by Oracle, tested by Oracle, that are available for different integration solutions that you might need.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Riddell, this question is for you, or maybe Mark. How much data hygiene cleanup was done prior to your proof of concept?
I'll take that. So for the proof of concept, there was very little. We took a subset of data. I think we took probably 4 or 5 of Dexcom's products, their full bill of material, and we loaded those in. So again, our objective of the POC was to just understand, can Cloud PLM's capabilities meet their core requirements? So it was we just did, I think it was an import process we did to import, like I said, 5 products so that the users could go in there and test drive that, see how they create items, release items in the system, and what that looked like. Again, we were looking at kind of the core Dexcom business requirements, and could those be met, right? So it wasn't a big exercise. We kept it down within 4 weeks. So by design, we didn't want to load all the data or a lot of data in there, but we put enough in there that the users could make sure that they could understand the capabilities of the system and whether they met the requirements or not.
Yeah. And as far as additional time for data cleanup and transformation, the transformation that probably happened during the actual migration. So we had nailed down what any data transformation would need to look like from Agile Cloud PLM. But post go live, I recall that there was maybe 1 or 2 instances where our contracts vendor management team identified some missing attributes that we didn't bring in, or we had to reassociate them with some metadata. So really, I think we did a real good, thorough job. But there were maybe onesies or twosies here where we had to do some. We actually had to do some manual cleanup because we needed the people with knowledge of that metadata and where it belonged to do that data cleanup. So maybe a week or 2 post go live.
Great, thank you both. And John, they had a follow-up question, which I'm going to ask to you. They wanted to know if Cloud PLM has any AI capabilities to evaluate specific data or suspicious data. Let's see if I can say that. And the example they gave is data that may be considered incorrect.
We have all kinds of capabilities to look at incorrect data. I'm not sure AI is the only tool, but there are other tools like item rules that can validate data and look at for data quality. So we have all kinds of data quality tools built in. AI will enhance that over time, yes.
Great, thank you. We have one other question. We have a lot of other questions. I'm going to use this as the last one. In your opinion, how does Oracle Cloud PLM enhance data management and facilitate seamless integration across various platforms, particularly in comparison to Agile PLM?
Well, I would say, and I'll let Mark finish this, but again, data quality, I think is much better in the cloud. We've got a lot more capabilities to ensure the data is specific and built to the right quality standards. So you get less duplicate parts, you get less bad data. And then again, you get a more digital thread, a more enterprise product record across Fusion supply chain in general. Mark, want to finish?
Just to add to that, I think, as you mentioned, if I compare Cloud PLM versus Agile PLM, with Agile PLM, in order for you to put rules in place, you ended up, in the most cases, having to build a process extension to do special checks, special validations. In Cloud PLM, there's 2 main capabilities I can think of right off the top of my head that we've talked about a couple of times, which is the item rules. That gives me the ability to do, one, is I can assign attributes based on other information in the system. So I can automate that process, and I can assign a value of an attribute based on a certain rule. So you can have very structured rules to make sure that the data is good quality there. And then John also mentioned the data quality features in there. So for example, if I'm importing a bunch of product information into my system, I can have data quality checks to do things like ensure there's no duplicates. If there's other items that have similar attribute values, tell me that so that I don't create a duplicate part in there for the same exact item that already exists because I didn't check that. So there's a lot of those data quality checks that can alert you to say, hey, are you sure you really want to do this? Or this doesn't conform to your data standards. So you end up with much cleaner data going into the system and not even having to do validation checks once it's in there. So between the item rules and the data quality checks, it really gives you more standardized data and cleaner data when it's first created in the system.
Yeah, and that goes back to my second point on the very first slide, which is rules, not code.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Rodell, John, and Mark, for presenting today and the great conversation at the tail end of this webinar. We weren't able to get to all of the questions, and if
and the internet held out right until the end.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yes, and if we haven't gotten to your questions, we will definitely follow up directly post-event. Thank you for joining.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.